What's up, guys? Rob here, and like it says in the title of this video, this is a pretty important channel announcement for you guys. And it's kind of a hard one for me to make, but I'm not really sure how to feel about it. But Tiz is no longer going to be associated with the Hurt Handbook. And, I know a lot of you guys like him, and, it's been an interesting partnership, that's for sure. And, the thing is, like, he just had a tough schedule. We were both like really busy, and it's been tough to like coordinate at times. And then like besides that, he's kind of just like a lazy fuck. And to be honest with you guys, like we're really not friends outside of this. We don't really talk at all. It's a strictly professional relationship. And like I said, like just between the scheduling issues and the laziness, he's just a really bad guy. And like also, the whole thing coming out with him hanging out with, Jeffrey Epstein and all that stuff. What was that? So what is up, guys? Tiz is not actually leaving the show. I'm kind of disappointed in that because that what I was saying was true, despite. But this isn't an important video for
And
the
then
channel.
you reinstated me.
Yeah, I'm still a little blurry from when you choked me unconscious.
Exactly, I made
But
you do it.
yeah, Tiz took his position back by force. Actually, that's what happened. I'm just waking up now. And but no, for real, like we have a channel update for you guys, and we think it's a pretty good one. So obviously, for anybody who's been watching us for a while, like they know that we do have like videos from time to time where we'll like go to cover things like BKFC or Combat FC, or we'll have like interviews. But for the most part, we've just been doing like the weekly recaps. Just kind of fill the algorithm, I guess, and just over time, like, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I don't, if you want to add like how you feel about it, that's like up to you. But like me personally, I was kind of just getting like burnt out with the whole like week by week coverage, especially with like how MMA has gotten over the past couple of years, with just like how negative a lot of the stuff is nowadays to just take in day after day after day. And it's like I still love the sport, but like kind of being entrenched in like the negative news cycles that just keep popping up more and more, it's it gets a little exhausting. And so like because of that, I don't know, I was just kind of feeling burnt out. And we're moving in this new direction that we're about to describe. But I don't know, how did you kind of like feel about like the weekly, and I should say this too, weekly podcasts, they're not totally going away. Like we're still going to recap certain cards that we actually want to talk about, like probably the UFC numbered cards, big boxing fights. Just when we feel like we want to talk about something, that's like when we'll sit down and do like an actual podcast. But we're not going away completely. We're replacing it with other stuff. But before I get to that, I don't know if like you kind of want to add anything, because I don't want to speak for you.
Well, there's only so much that a weekly recap can uh, really get you to a certain point. Like I think we've done pretty good up until this point, and um, this whole channel started as like um, just like a platform that we could use to shed a light on um, even beyond the UFC fighters, combat boxers, whoever it is that uh, deserves their own little recognition on our channel, and maybe one day we'll get to talk to them, interview and stuff. But
Well,
uh,
honest to a point, like I think we've managed to do that, like with BKFC stuff, Combat FC when we were going there, a couple of years ago. Like we've still had like a lot of interesting stuff.
but I think now is a good time to transition because you'll get to see more of us and what makes us unique and who we are and why we why we wanted to do this in the first place and how fighting just how combat sports affects kind of everything and how everybody can get get in and get a little bit interested on the violence. So that's pretty much the whole thing of it. But yeah, it's our channel, it's our platform. We want you guys to be be more engaged in stuff with us and show you what more of us personally.
Yeah, like we definitely want to let you guys in a little more, and it's like when we're just doing weekly recaps and kind of like we'll give our opinions, but we're also trying to be like not disrespectful towards certain people. Like you're not really seeing like us as people as much, and I feel like it's the better podcast that we were doing were like when there'd be a subject on it that one of us was passionate about and like we could talk freely versus like when you're giving like a fight recap, like that's pretty objective. Like I can't, like you're not going to learn anything about like me or you when I'm talking about like why Sean Strickland has a good jab. You know what I mean? Like you can't really add much. And that's the other thing. I'm talking about, like adding things. There's so many channels that do like weekly recaps, and like after a while, uh, me personally, I was kind of just like, I want to do something different than that. Like it's because that's kind of like when I was talking about, like we go to these things sometimes, like for BKFC, Combat FC. We did the thing with Shane a few years ago. Like we want to do more of that, and the weekly thing was kind of like taking away from that. We started to notice like over time, and that I don't know, like kind of like you were saying, I definitely want to like let people in more because like not only do we want to like showcase martial arts, but like we want to show you like why we love martial arts, why you guys should love it, and like we hope that like our passion can be like seen through the screen. And I feel like sometimes for those weekly recaps, like especially with the UFC kind of like mailing in a lot of cards over the years, like you you don't really get to see that passion as much some weeks. And we had to talk about it, and we were like, we want people to be excited about like what we're putting out. And it's like if we're not excited, how hard is it to get you guys excited then? And so like because of that, like we're kind of going to be going into a thing where we're not going to be uploading like as constantly, but when we do upload, it's going to be higher quality, interesting, creative ideas, stuff that's like not being done.
Yeah, and we've had a separate podcast where we've talked in depth about this, but just the lack of just certain storylines and stuff to follow within UFC and rivalries and stuff. Not to say it's the ESPN era where they're phoning in the cards and stuff again. They're all good cards, and I think they all bring their own certain significance to them, even if there's not a title on the line, obviously. So for just fight nights, like I think they do a decent job too. But basically, it's just there when there's not. We kind of want to make it where maybe we can implement more series and stuff on the channel and give you something to follow within the channel because there's just not that much to follow in UFC right now. I think and yeah, just rather than the White House card coming up.
It is going to be a fun summer. That's the other thing. And it kind of ties into like our upcoming schedule. Like I said, we're still going to be putting out content. It's just going to be higher quality and a little less frequent. Like, we wanted to have more freedom to kind of like come up with things that are interesting and like creative and something that maybe you guys haven't seen before versus like a recap that you can go to 1,000 different places for. And like you kind of mentioned, we want to start like new things. We're going to be doing more live streams. I'm excited to kind of get into that. You mentioned the White House card. The plan right now is to do a stream for the White House card. I'm like almost certain we're going to do that. And, when we are certain, I'll put out an announcement, of course. But like, hopefully being able to do more things like we did at Knucklehead Vintage last year on like just live podcasts. Maybe we can find other venues or go there again. We'll see. Just different like video essays, like documentaries. We're working on the one right now about TKO, which is going to come out in like about a month in June. And we're excited for that. Like just putting like a lot of work into certain things. Like we have another series that we're thinking of and I don't want to like spoil the title for it yet because obviously it's not like a thing yet. But it'll be basically a series kind of like going through the careers of like underrated or underappreciated fighters from over the years, and like it kind of ties into like our initial goal, like with the channel, like wanting to teach you guys about like the history of the sport, why the sport is so great, and like especially nowadays with like the way that the UFC is structured now with having so many cards per year, it's kind of tough to look back as much as you want to sometimes. Like I remember I used to watch old fights all the time, but like when you do the weekly recap, like I'm kind of only watching fights that, are specific to that week, whether it's like watching tape on a guy who is fighting or watching the fights afterwards, like so we can recap them. Um, but yeah, so I think that'll be kind of fun because we can talk about certain fighters that maybe you guys don't know about or like a casual fan wouldn't know about, and give them their shine. Um, I like this idea. You were the one who actually suggested to bring this back. Our first video ever on this channel, I believe, um, is a sketch where I play Conor McGregor, and you texted me at one point. You're like, "What do you think about bringing back like just different comedy sketches, like that could be like MMA themed?" And honestly, that's really like what got my brain moving about this in general. Because for me, it was like, all right, well, we're doing the weekly show. Like I said in the fake intro, which is the truth. Like we both work full time, so it's like it's not like we have all this time to be recording when we have the weekly show to keep up with. But now without the weekly show, we can actually do these ideas, and we have like, guys, we have so many ideas for comedy sketches, and you guys are gonna like, I swear, you guys are gonna love these, because like we've been talking about it, like me and you, and then like also with Jim, our technical director, and like just telling other people about like little ideas here and there. That's like me kind of testing the waters, talking to casual fans about it, and like everybody seems pretty into the things that we want to do. So we're excited to bring the comedy sketches back for you guys because that's going to be really fun. They're all going to be MMA themed, and you guys are going to appreciate it. That's for sure. But and like I said before, more vlogs too. Like we were already doing the ones like where we went to Combat FC, BKFC, and over time we're obviously going to continue to do that. Um, I'm hoping in July we'll be able to go to Philly for BKFC. That'll be fun. So that could be possibly the next vlog that we do. But we want actually we have another vlog. Actually, I won't go into this one because this vlog idea is kind of an interesting one, and I feel like I haven't seen anyone do it. But we have some interesting stuff lined up. That's for sure. But sorry, I kind of cut you off. You were about to say something.
No. It was just agreeing with you pretty much. But just I guess one thing is like our recaps, obviously they were engaging. They create a lot of conversation through shorts and stuff, which is very good. Even if you just listen on an Apple Podcast or Spotify. We hope you've taken a lot from it, and so I never thought that was a problem. It's just the UFC itself right now isn't the most engaging, like business and whatnot in terms, because even you look at, we've talked about even like how TKO is gonna start pricing the fans out of even going to these fights, and the Apex cards are still happening. So the UFC itself is like just yeah,
it's just not as fun to cover week to week anymore. Like when we first got into it, it was really fun week by week. Like remember we used to recap the entire card because we knew everybody on it. But like nowadays it seems like every other card you're getting like 6 debutantes, like 3 or 4 guys who have fought maybe once or twice in the UFC. Like it's just, and honestly, like of all the gripes that I have with like TKO and the UFC right now, that's honestly not really one of them because it's like 41 events or 42 events per year. Like it's tough. Like they gotta spread it out. Like I get it. You can't put on as many huge events when you're doing that many. But like I said, there's so many people who do weekly recaps, and it's just like we want to cover the sport in a way where you can see our passion, so that way you guys can be as passionate as we are about it. And like when we're talking about like a cookie cutter UFC Apex card that maybe has some good fights, but like not a lot of people know who the fighters are because it's like impossible for the UFC to like to like promote it as well as they used to, just because you have a fight card and the next week you have to promote a completely different product. So it's like you don't get those massive feeling events anymore, not as much at least. And I should say this too, like the weekly recaps, I'm still gonna kind of like keep them in a way. I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to do this, but I don't want to we're not gonna be doing weekly podcasts, but I'm gonna try and keep it up in like a short form, like maybe 1 minute recaps of like the main events for the UFC, or if there's like a topic that I kind of want to give a quick rant on. Um, and then, like I said, the podcasts aren't going away though entirely. So like for you mentioned the audio listeners, like there'll still be stuff for you guys too. Although we do encourage you guys to check out the YouTube channel on your spare time because we put up some fun exclusive stuff up on there that you wouldn't be getting on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever. Um, but podcasts are like going to continue. Like I said, we're gonna be. I think like the live streams will probably be put on Spotify and all that. If I had to guess, anytime we do like a recap of a numbered card, or if we sit down to talk about like a topic maybe that me or you want to cover, that type of stuff will be on there. So for the audio listeners, like we're not forgetting about you guys. That stuff is still going to be out, and honestly, I think that content is going to be better too, because again, it's going to be stuff that like we actually want to talk about, and it's like not just sitting here because there was a fight card. Okay, we have to talk about it no matter how good or bad it was. And yeah, it's just I'm excited for it because I think that like me and you and Jim too, like we're all like very creatively minded, and I think that like we can do something that hasn't really been done in the MMA space yet when it comes to like just all these different forms of content that'll show you guys how passionate we are about the sport while showcasing the fighters and the people who make it great. And like I said, I think we've done a good job at that so far, but I think we've been a bit restricted at times. And I think that now we're going to be less restricted and we can do more things. And like I told you guys a lot of the ideas, but I didn't get specific really about any of them. But we have some specifics already down that like you guys are going to love. Like we're really excited about this. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming in the summer of 2026. I mean, honestly, like there's a lot of good UFC fights. Just for the next month, so you guys know, we actually have a pretty cool interview that's going to be coming up. It'll probably be out at the beginning of next week. I don't want to spoil who that is yet. Then after that, it'll probably be the UFC White House Fight Companion. I'm like I said, I'm almost certain we're going to do a live stream for it. And if we don't, we're going to put up a immediate reaction podcast anyway. So that day, you will have some sort of content from us, whether it's a live stream or a reaction pod, yet to be seen. But, we'll keep you guys in the loop. And then literally 10 days after that, maybe a little later, depending on the schedule, our TKO video is going to be coming out. And we've been working on that for like a couple of months now. So that one should be really interesting. And then right after that, I mean, BKFC in Philly on July 4th weekend, UFC 329, the return of Conor McGregor. This is going to be a fun summer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really have anything else. If you want to add anything at the end here.
Yeah. So basically, the gist of it, there's I think you make a good point that there's a lot of fights still, a lot of really good fights still coming up. So with us having this idea and this announcement in mind, then we kind of, in a way, we can find ways to create content around, like, instead of just talking about the fights, like, we can make content surrounding these fights and these cards and stuff. And certain fighters, like you said, with the Forgotten Fighter series, like, yeah, so it's a lot of good ideas that's going to prolong the channel, and it's going to give a lot of we're going to have a lot of avenues, I think, that we can take, and you're gonna get to see more of us and stuff, and it's gonna be good.
And also, like, keep this in mind, guys, too. Like, we just came up, like, really with this whole shift in how we're gonna be uploading, like, relatively recently, and we already have all of these ideas, and like the stuff that we have right now, like, alone will take us like pretty long into the future. So like we're gonna be thinking of stuff constantly as this goes on. So it's like we already have seen, just like, it's all, how can I put it? It's like a pressure release almost. Like right when we knew like, okay, we don't have to upload every single week. Like all of a sudden, all of these ideas come flooding in, and it's like, man, like we should have done this sooner. But like it's that was the tough part though, because I do like, obviously we love talking fights with each other too. Like we do it off camera all the time, so it's like we definitely aren't going to get rid of that entirely, but we also want to show you guys more things and like let you guys into our lives and our passion for the like for all of combat sports through these different types of videos that we're planning on putting out on YouTube. So I guess that's really it for me. Like I said, stay tuned for that interview early next week. It's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited for this. And yeah, until next time, guys, we will see y'all.
Feel just like a superstar. Doing all these drugs, I don't think I'm gon' see tomorrow. Living fast, brand new dash up in a foreign car. It's the type of shit that you be doing when you going hard.